Welcome to Game of Roses. This is Pace Case.
This is Bachelor Clues, and right now we are going to recap episodes 10 and 11 of Love is Blind Season 7. It has been a doozy of a season. So much drama, so much stuff happening off screen. I mean, by that, things that the
This
producers
is
are
one of
not
the
catching on
messiest Love is
camera.
Blind seasons ever, right?
Yes,
Like,
that is true.
it's up there.
By the drama, by the mess, what I mean is that the producers are very bad at their jobs this season in that they are not capturing the most important moments, the most important conversations. These are not shot on any footage that we get to see. We just see it recounted in post facto conversations. Also, it is messy because of
We
the
gotta get
stuff.
the drones on this, Clues.
What's that?
The drones should be filming them 24 hours a day.
I agree. And it's also messy because there are things happening on social media, revelations coming out, specifically about Tyler's children, that are kind of being forced into the conversation, but obviously not addressed in the show, which was shot almost a year ago. So, Pace Case.
Some wild Instagram plays. Clues recently broke down on our YouTube. It is never seen it before in this franchise.
Yeah, we will get to those coming right up. But let's just go down this list here of the couples that are in at least these episodes. Some are together, some are not together. There are spoilers ahead, at least in terms of what has happened in episode 10 and 11, which are now available on Netflix.
As
and
of
you can watch them.
Wednesday, October 16th today.
Yes. So let's start with Taylor and Garrett. These are our two scientists, our two nerdy lovers here. They are.
Taylor is my MVP.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I think she has done the most of anyone all season to come off for TRR, but keep the storyline interesting. And she's getting the most Instagram followers out of her journey. And
She
I
right
think,
now.
where is she?
97.9K as of this recording.
Ooh,
Scratching at the door of the 100K club.
cusp of that 100K
Yeah.
club. Good for her. I definitely think that obviously they should have had Brittany and Leo go to Mexico and
course.
follow them forever. But for my second choice for
Yeah,
wife, it is Taylor.
More bad producing. But in these episodes 10 and 11, the kind of biggest thing that happened to Taylor and Garrett is just as they are about to head into the 20s flapper party, it's revealed basically that Garrett got some kind of message from an ex-girlfriend who he was together with 6 years prior. He claims to Taylor, to her face, says that he didn't reply to it. He just sent back a heart emoji and
A
thought
like.
nothing of it. A like, right? So that's what he tells
How
her.
old is this man?
Taylor? Oh, Garrett, you mean?
Garrett.
I'm not sure. Let me find out.
Everyone knows a like is different than a reply.
Let me see if I can find
This was tough to watch. But I do think it's a false Jeopardy situation. I don't think they're going to
33.
break up.
He's
33.
33.
Yeah, he knows.
So I don't think they're going to break up either, but this play was a big error by him. And he compounds it as they go to the flapper party. And he then has to reveal, oh no, I did actually send her a message. Oopsie. And he says that in front of these other players before telling Taylor that. And basically,
I
in
love
this
that
show-
they're in full taut for this, by the way.
Absolutely.
Such a good idea.
Yes. I think anytime you can get people in full talk, crying, breaking down, having hard kind of conversations, it always makes it funnier to me anyway.
Yeah.
So I thank the producers for that. But the idea here is that he didn't tell her these kind of crucial points of what actually happened when he got this message. And for the most part, in this show, in this experiment, as they keep calling it, people are looking for a reason to not get married. They're looking for a viable ejector button to get out of this situation and not look like the bad guy. So if somebody does something bad in the relationship or gives you the ick or a red flag or whatever, it's an easy out for you that you can eject from the situation and again, not be a villain. I think she sees that in this thing where he's lying about exactly what he said or how he responded, and it would have been a viable out, but she does seem to in the end come around, and she's still back in this relationship with him. And I agree with you, Pace Case. I think they are the strongest couple, the most likely to say yes at the altar.
It could have been error of the game if not for some other
Oh
stuff
my
that
God.
happened,
I mean,
which
this is,
completely destroys
yeah.
memory of any other error in the past.
In prior seasons, this might have been like the error of the season, a huge thing that in the final like 11th hour you screw up something big and it gives you real cause for concern. But this season has so much insane stuff in it that it didn't even come close. Let's move on
No.
to our next couple, Ashley and Tyler. Now, some big errors were made here. So if you've been following our YouTube channel or you follow us on Patreon, I've been covering all the drama that's coming out about Tyler's 3 children, the biological mother of those children, who is, I've been told the pronunciation of her name is Bry Thomas. On her Instagram, she put up video and pictures of Tyler with her children last Christmas, despite the fact in the show he said he spent that Christmas alone. So one lie there is exposed by the mother of Tyler's children. And now she has come out with threats on her Instagram stories, essentially saying she will expose everything if he doesn't clear all of this up. I don't know what that means. I don't know what everything is, nor do I know what she's expecting him to do to, in quotes, clear it all up. That said,
The omission of the 3 children is probably my error of the season so far.
but he didn't quite omit them. He omitted them for a period of time, and he has now at least exposed that piece of information, which is
After
crucial.
the proposal.
That's right. And we get into this bigger
That's what I'm
conversation
saying. Like,
of how much did the producers know about this? And this is what I will
yeah.
maintain. There are 2 paths here. The producers knew the entire time, and they said, fuck it, cast him, put him in there, and we're not going to tell her, we're not going to tell any of these women. If he doesn't reveal that, that's on them. That's one
Yeah.
possibility. The other possibility is,
I see that justification to themselves. The
oh, of
third
course.
audience.
I think that's what they'll say. That'll be their party line too. Because then it's like, well, we weren't on the hook for anything.
But then
However,
there's probably like physical proof that they did know.
well, yeah, it's the TV show you're watching. Because at some point, Tyler says on camera, I have these 3 kids. And in that moment, even if the producers didn't know up until the very point that Ashley knows, they know at that moment. And don't they then have some obligation to look into that, to do some research immediately about the nature of his relationship with them, about does he owe the mother money? That's also a financial situation he could be lying about. Or do they just see it as like, nope, we just
We've
cast
seen
you,
people
and
lie
whatever
about
happens,
financial
happens.
situations a lot, though, in the show.
Yeah.
It does raise this very interesting question of like, what are they responsible to tell the players on the show?
I think in a situation like this, where the premise of the show is we are going to potentially send you headlong into a financial legal partnership with this person, I think they are very obligated. And I think if
Yeah.
Ashley winds up getting married to him, she may have some viable grounds for a lawsuit. Which, probably wouldn't
Yeah,
phase them.
I mean,
They've been
the
sued a
Renee
lot.
Poche thing is kind of about this as well, of like who is at fault here in this
Yeah.
situation.
So, do
So
you
yeah,
think
it's
they're
a
going to get
very,
married?
very interesting story we are watching. He also has my error of the game here with the thing about the kids know what you look like.
Yeah. And he says, I don't think so. Meanwhile, I mean, he couldn't have known it then. Again, this was shot about a year ago. But right as he's saying this, as it's airing, there are videos and pictures of him with those children. And those children very much look like their eyes are open. So I think they do know what he looks like. He's
Yeah.
point blank lying to her. And I'm sure
That's
he'll
my
be made
error
to
of the
answer
game.
for that at the finale. Yeah, it's my error of the season. Probably. I mean, who knows what's coming. But do you think they're going to say yes at the altar?
I didn't know what was coming with these episodes. Like, I was so sad about Brittany and Leo not being followed, but now, like, the Ramses, various conversations and stuff, oh my God.
We will get to them. Do you think that this couple is going to say yes at the altar?
No.
interesting. I think they will, and I think it is going to be very detrimental to the franchise. I think people are going to be very mad that producers allowed them to get married
Hmm.
and without
Well, I
her
think they're
knowing
not
the full story.
together if they did go to the altar.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think they are going to say yes at the altar. Let's move on to our
Time
next
will tell.
couple, shall we? The next couple is
Yes.
Marissa and Ramses. So,
Yes. I was
oh,
so excited to talk to you about
yeah,
this.
they've been a very interesting couple throughout the entirety of the show. We had that just groundbreaking conversation about the nature of the United States military, imperialism.
The
Is it a
military
good thing?
conversation was
Yeah.
Bachelor could never.
Yes, not only could never, but it's lent credibility because it's not to, super left-wing people just being like the military's evil. One of the people in this conversation spent 8 years in the military, has firsthand account of the positive things that it did for her life, the people she met,
Hmm.
but also has some
Real
misgivings
relationships
about.
where she's like, I do support the individual troops, but maybe not the overall cause. Like a
Mm,
nuanced discussion of it. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, but I mean, Bachelor, if anything goes the other way, it's like they had that whole officer and a gentleman season.
Andy Baldwin,
They have,
season 10.
Marcus's whole storyline about him being a hero.
Yes, exactly. With the American flags, they do that quite a bit. But that's where it kind of, for me, first popped off like, oh shit, okay. These aren't just like two super compatible people here. There's something interesting going on. And then we have this, these other conversations they have. Ramses doesn't want to use
The other
condoms.
conversation.
Yeah.
Which one, Clues? I don't know which
There's
one you're referring
Ramses
to.
doesn't want to use condoms, and that's a deal breaker for him. There's you can never
Oh my God.
even think about the military again. I don't want to see you watching an episode of G.I. Joe. I'll break up with you.
Mm-hmm.
There is also this kind of they never got to the specifics of it, but it looked like she had some issues around her period that she didn't want to have sex, and that was a problem for him. He
Mm-hmm.
was like, "You better want to have sex with me every goddamn day, or
Period
this is over."
IFI.
So that was in there, and then
Um, just wild. I mean, for this
yeah,
couple, especially because they were like, if not the fastest, one of the fastest to
mhm,
implied consummation. I mean, they
they were.
they they theoretically were before they even got to the first night, right?
Yeah, it was like in the
That was
airplane
wild.
bathroom, the Mile High Club, as they say. But their segments ended. It seemed like they had gotten through all of these hurdles. Okay, there was meetings of families and stuff. Everything seemed to be going as well as it could. Obviously, Marissa's mom is kind of a hard edge familial player, we'll say.
I mean, my Sweet Nums award of the season
Yeah,
for
she's
sure. I don't even
fantastic.
think anything could top it.
Yeah, said she would cut Ramsey's balls off. But all of that said, they seem to have gotten over all these hurdles and everything looked to be okay. But then the cliffhanger of episode 11 is this strange moment where, again, we have no idea what it's referencing because the producers apparently didn't get that footage. It's just Ramses with his head in his hands in the morning and her coming in to kind of be like, what's wrong? Is everything okay? I have no idea what that is about. And I'm pretty sure we're not going to know even in the next episode. They'll try to wrap that up and conclude that conversation, but it's only going to be referencing something we're not going to get footage to.
Yeah. And not for the first time this season. The other
Yeah.
couples we'll get to as well. Yeah, I do not see them getting married.
Mm, I don't either,
How
which
about
is
you?
sad because I was on board. In the beginning, I was like, oh my God, they better make it. They were the ones that I was like, this is a good couple. They're solid. They got this.
Yeah, it
And
hurts
then,
my heart when I
yeah,
see it start to get emotionally invested.
totally. The
Brett and
military
Tiffany.
thing to me was like, I can't like ideological differences are one thing and they seem to get over that. But then all the other shit was about like, I'm not using condoms and that's on you.
The
And you don't want to have
condom
sex
thing
during your period or
was
whatever. That's on you.
wild.
Yeah. He started to
And
become kind of a
obviously, we're
bad
only
guy to
seeing,
me.
we don't know any of these people, and we are
Of
speculating
course.
all of this.
Yeah. And you should also keep in mind, Love is Blind, a lot, maybe even more than Bachelor, manufactures these arguments. They will literally come in, the producers will come into a couple that's like getting along well and be like, look, we need some drama. What can you guys fight about? And they will just make shit up. So that may be
I mean,
what's
if I
going
were
on
on the
here.
show,
I
I
have no idea.
I would be doing that. You
Totally.
want to off screen,
Yeah.
figure out some big drama you and your partner can have and always come
Mm.
back together so that you're creating your
Yeah.
own episodes.
So those are the couples that are in quotes, still together as of episode 11. Now, there's some other couples who have hit the skids here.
Not gone the distance.
Yeah, we've got Hannah and Nick is the first one that comes to mind. Now,
Oh my God.
this was, for me, some of the most shocking stuff I've ever heard uttered by a player happened by Hannah at that Flappers party when she revealed to not only whoever she was talking to at the party, but to America at large,
Yeah.
that Nikki D has certain aversions to
Certain
her
sexual
pleasure.
acts. Um,
It was so
I
brutal
couldn't
to watch.
believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking about? Like, they don't have the alcohol restrictions that Bachelor has.
Right.
So, in some ways, especially at these types of events, we see wild plays.
Yeah.
And they're bringing in the exes and everything else. Like, I'm sure she's going to apologize for this at the reunion.
You think?
Yeah, she apologized on
Yeah.
Vial Files.
Yeah, I think she probably will too. I mean, she has played a very stern style, I will say. At least again
I
in
have
what we're
enjoyed
seeing.
watching her play. I
Absolutely.
gotta say.
Absolutely.
I think she's magnetic.
I do too. That said, she is playing a very harsh style that we're
Yes.
seeing in the edit. This is something to keep in mind in the show. You're seeing very little of what they actually shoot. So I can
Yeah.
only assume that Nick and Hannah have some really good moments together where they do love each other and everything's firing on all cylinders. They ain't showing you that. They're showing you the exact thing they want you to see, which is her essentially insulting him
fight.
constantly, reading her list of shit, his delusions, his immaturity, and
Him being
berating
too
him for his
short,
chores.
the height,
Yeah.
the constant height discussions.
So they're painting her in a certain light as well. They are painting him, but obviously we know they're not going to get married. They're not going to say yes at the altar. They broke up at the end of this, which was not that shocking to me, honestly. I thought as
I
soon
did
as
think
she saw
Katie
him,
was a
this
great,
was not going to go to distance.
great little one episode pod squad
Yeah.
player.
She was really good.
The way that she like built Nick up and was like, she was very giving Hannah Brown
Yes.
in this scene and like giving this like inspirational thing. I thought she was a scene stealer.
I did too. They gave her very little time in this whole season, but the time she had, she used very well. Congrats to her. I don't know what her Instagram count is at, but everybody's Instagram count, by the way, this season, extremely low. Still no one has cracked 100K. Like we said, Taylor is right at the door of it. The next closest, I want to say, is in the 40s or 50s.
Who's second?
I'm not sure. It might be her. It might be Hannah Giles. Let me look her up right now real quick.
I would guess that. But don't you think there's going to be big numbers coming for Ashley after the reunion?
Hannah's at 61.8.
Once they have to recap all of the stuff?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But usually at this point where next week is the weddings, you're seeing people in the multiple hundreds of thousands, if that's going to happen.
Right.
I just think it's kind of fallen off. Maybe they're bigger on TikTok. I'm not sure. Let's move on to our next couple, which is Alex and Tim, the dog. Now, this one was brutal to watch.
Dog.
So basically the history of their relationship is he liked to tease her
Calls himself
relentlessly.
the dog.
Yeah, he calls himself a dog and she doesn't like that. And he puts on funny hats and she doesn't like that. He teases her constantly. But the nature of the relationship, at least from the edit, again, we have no idea who these people really are or what this relationship really is. All we're seeing is the
Cannot
edit.
say that enough.
Yeah, cannot say it enough. Do not send them death threats. Do not send them any kind of hateful things. You don't know these people. But what we saw was, I believe, a guy who wanted to maintain some control in a situation where he felt like he had none. And that's everything from when she's saying, please don't say dog anymore. And he's like, okay, dog, 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 dog. He's like, you won't tell me what
He
to
says
do.
what I heard someone at one of my old workplaces say, what? Dogs can't chase cars?
Oh, nice. I don't remember that exact quote, but throughout their entire relationship, it's kind of based on this idea that he's the one in control, no matter what she thinks. And that bears out even to the final moment where he's saying, are you going to let me talk? Are you going to let me talk? I've made the decision that you will never be with me. Good luck with your life. And he has a very harsh end to this thing, by the way.
Yeah, I will never speak to you again.
Yeah.
My eyes will never again
Yeah, I never want to
dance
see you
upon
again.
thee.
And he is wearing a baseball cap that has a small dog on it, a little cartoon dog, just to let you know. So he gets in one last dog reference, but
That's smart.
goes down in flames
Easter
here.
eggs.
I have to say, I think you can end relationships on this show. Happens all the time. That's part of the process. You go through the pod, you fall in love, you get engaged. Honeymoon's great. Now you rotate back to the, in quotes, real world where you have jobs and you're living together. And that's a fine time to figure out you shouldn't be together. The ending of the relationship, though, at least on camera, I think this comes across as like not great for Tim, aka Drake, as his parents called him. I think you have to be more considerate. You have to come out and say like, look, I did fall in love with you in the pods, but as we know, like love isn't everything that a relationship is. It's also about compromise and living together and the real protocols that you have to develop as a couple, how you merge your lives. And I think once we got to that point, we both can kind of see it's not gelling. So I'm so sorry, but like, I don't think we should do this. That's an easier way to do it rather
I
than
saw Body of a Dancer and Good Day to You.
exactly.
This is a music video.
I just want to let you know,
players made.
I was talking to Steven at a sleep study, and he told me that once we come off the show, we're going to be super famous and there's going to be a lot of girls interested in us. So bye-bye. He didn't do that.
I heard about all of the de-essing I could get, the Hummer situation, and I GTG.
Nice.
I gotta lick some more faces.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to seeing them at the reunion. Obviously, we are not going to see them get married. And then we, of course, have Monica and Steven. Now, their relationship.
Face licker.
Yeah, the face licker. It was so gross. I
couldn't believe that.
I took a still of him licking her face and used it for the thumbnail of my Clues Corner of that very episode. And I think my caption was, when he tells you who he is, believe him, or something like that.
That's so funny. I think that moment was where I was like, oh yeah, they don't have an alcohol limit.
Yeah,
I think it was that moment.
He's just drunk constantly. I mean, he misstepped so many ways. He now online is kind of embracing this villain role a little bit and trying to make a joke of it in some way. But I think at the
Interesting. In what way?
He's just kind of like, you don't know me, ha ha ha, that type of thing. I believe Monica posted the Venmo thing that he sent her, the $400 for the comment was like clown behavior or clown shit or something like this. He put that comment on there and then he reposted it. So it seems like to some degree they may even be amicable at this point. Another problem with the show is they shoot the reunion a year after this shooting has ended, so no one cares.
That's a big problem as well.
But yeah, this was an interesting
all
flame
the
out.
hatchets have been buried.
Exactly. I'm, we'll see them at the reunion. Obviously, they're not together, and he made massive errors over the course of this season and continues to make them online, I feel like. And then our final couple here is Brittany and Leo, who we never got to see anywhere past the pods.
If I were him, I would pivot and I would play a PTC about why you're in that sleep study, the sleep apnea, and I would just pivot hard into sleep apnea influencer life.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Brittany and Leo. Brittany has 52.6K. She's in the top 3, I believe, of all Instagram followers, and she didn't even go to.
It.
She does. She was fantastic. Leo too. Obviously a villain, but would have been really fun to watch. And the producers just dropped the ball here again. I have to say, for as much drama as going on in this season, it is one of the worst produced seasons I've ever seen in terms of not getting the players that you need to have at the honeymoon phase there and not capturing the most important conversations that have happened in some of these couples are not on camera.
I mean, I straight up don't believe the production that they didn't film them because they already had too many couples and they didn't believe in their 4TRR-ness.
Yeah, I agree. I don't believe them either. And in terms of like what they knew,
definitely seems like Brittany maybe didn't agree.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think Brittany was like, I can't go do this with this fucking dude with cameras on me and shit. And then the producers were like, we made the decision to not invite them to Mexico, even though they were the most dynamic and electric couple we had and certainly would have provided the most drama. We made the decision because they weren't viable candidates to fall in real love. It's a lie.
They focused on them in the beginning. Like, they didn't have to do that.
Exactly. Cut them out of the whole show then. Why
They're
didn't
in
you
the
do
promos
that?
for the reunion.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Just a straight lie. But this is shaping up to be, I think, one of the most intense seasons of Love is Blind we have ever had. And this reunion is going to be absolutely insane. What you're looking for in the reunion is Nick and Vanessa Lachey to come out, sit center stage, and look down their noses at these horrible people who lied and cheated and made a mockery of the experiment. Specifically, I'm talking about, I don't think they'll do that with Tim, actually, because we don't know, what their conversations were that led to that. I think they're going to come after Tyler specifically. They're going to make him answer
100%.
for these three kids.
It is going to be all against Tyler, and we're going to see some Nick Lachey wingspan, I think.
Totally. And Tyler, if you're listening, this is my advice to you. You turn the tables on Nick and Vanessa Lachey, and you say, I told the producers everything about all of this, and they lied to you too. I would simply say that.
And you think they'll edit that into the reunion?
Or they edit him out of the show. Say nothing else. Give them no other footage. You can control your edit through omission
Help
of
me,
footage.
I'm being kidnapped.
Let me out. Do what you got to do.
Take me to the airport.
Anyway, thank you for joining us. That's our brief recap of this episode 10 and 11, where these relationships stand. And just what we're seeing, especially with what Hannah did at that flapper party, revealing Nick's aversion to a certain sexual act, that will have, I think, for Nick, repercussions far beyond the show. I think this is going to affect his dating life for some time.
It's look, it was also a decision to keep it in the edit. Let's never forget that.
Of course, everything you see is put there because of the producers, because they are trying to tell you a story, and that is it. But again, thank you for joining us. We're going to be covering the rest of this season as we have the finale next week, where we're going to see who actually says yes and no at the altar. And then the week following, we are going to have that insane finale, which I believe has already shot. So they're just editing it together now, figuring out how to do what they're going to do. Me either. But thanks for joining us.
Praise be, Dark Lords Lachey.